Welcome to the Activity Call Live. And now, our host, Andy Albright.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad to be back with this group. We lost somebody. He had to do something, had a doctor appointment or something he had to take care of. So I've got replaced with Terry and Edwards, who have a small business. Wednesday, we were talking about people that want to be business owners. Like, we've got great salespeople. Matter of fact, all of our business owners are great salespeople, but only selling is not a terrible thing. The problem is you can't sell it. Like, if your body's doing the work, you're selling. You can't sell that for $1 million. You can't borrow. It's hard. It's very hard to borrow against it because the bank looks at you and they go, you get hurt, we can't make the payments. But if you've got a business, 15 people, 100 people, 200 people, staff, CFO, CEO, COO, administrative assistant, the more power you have, the more you can sell and the more the bank will loan you money against it. Also, freedom. Like, when I was building a business, when I started 30-some years ago, I just wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to say stuff because my mama tells jokes she should not tell. And I want to be able to her to say stuff like that, me say stuff crazy every once in a while, and not, just freedom, baby, and not have somebody have a thumb on you and somebody saying, oh, you can have a little bit of overtime, oh, you can get paid 3%, oh, you can pay 5%. I just wanted freedom where I could make as much money as I wanted. And I had been around a few people, business people, who were explaining how that works. And 30-some years ago, I remember taking notes going like, is this real? Like, I wanted it to be. So then I'd research and look at other business, talk to other people. And when everybody starts saying, yeah, I quit listening to the nimnods, the poor people, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, and a lot of times my parents also, and good friends. And I just said, hey, I love you, but I just can't talk about that because they're trying to explain it to me. And I'm like, you're explaining it to me wrong. Just let me explain it to you, Terry. There's a cause and then there's a result. Okay, so like when Rachel and Jared were talking about, they were full-time with us, killing it, working hours, when in fact, Rachel, what was the scenario? What were we all doing?
Out by the pool, dialing and drinking margaritas.
Well, see, I resemble that remark. I'm all good with sitting by the pool, drinking margaritas and making phone calls, right? Okay, but that was what they put in. And then what happens as a result? Here's what people do, Logan, all the time. They beat the hell out of the result. And here's what they blame the result on. Jesus, God, Trump, Kamala, my daddy beat me. My daddy loved on me way too much. They blame it on all kinds of stuff like that, but never do they want to blame it on what they did to get this result. They don't want to do that. So I would just look at the result, and by genius evaluation, I would go back to the work. And this helped me a lot. And I don't know y'all's background education, but I grew up on a farm, and I knew if you plant watermelon, typically you'd get watermelon. Cantaloupe, it looked like a funny little watermelon. Didn't look the same. But whatever you planted, what you got. You with me? More seeds, more harvest, more fertilizer, more dookie you put around it. That's important. You got to put dookie around good stuff to make it grow. So they put the dookie around it. They put the water around it. That stuff will grow. It's dry and it didn't rain. You got to get some water. It happened. So the results, that's my background, country. And then I went to NC State. On top of that, they started working with the old calculator thing. Do the mathematics. This amount of stats gets this amount of results, this amount of hours, this amount of people, this amount of fabric, this amount of cotton, this amount of polymer. Whatever we put up in there, we be getting something out, a derivative. So I just became a genius at looking at the result and judging people. People say, it's a judgment-free zone. Oh, hell no, it ain't neither. We look at your results. Does that make sense? So I became that person that screamed about the results. And so then what I wanted in the result wasn't easy money and no work. I wanted freedom. And what I think that for people looking, what I think I have is 3 different businesses that I've have a little bit. You can't, anytime you try credit for a person being a winner. I mean, Mathis a winner, and the Duchette's a winner, and the Edwards are winners. I can't take credit, but I can say, like, I give them some advice. I was there talking to them, a little bit to do, but these are people that are business owners that want to be bigger business owners. So we want to talk today about that, how to do that. I'm talking to them, at them, with them, and I also want them to chime in. Okay, so Wednesday, we got to doing this entrepreneur thing, and I thought we were 15 minutes in, and we were an hour and a half in. And I was like, I hope that the audience, that my friends didn't get bored to death. I was like, these guys have been talking for an hour and a half. I was like, it's because I was so fired up about it. Now, some people might get fired up about business. You know, they get fired up about football or basketball, baseball, hockey, lacrosse. And there's these people get this thing, football, this soccer thing. There's one of them right there. They get fired up about that. They're just all encapsulated with it, and that's okay. I just got into the business, but it wasn't business. It was the result. I got all into freedom. So it was a mathematical equation for me going freedom, business. Now, you said, well, you could have become an NFL football player. Yeah, I also could have a concussion and be talking like, because in my head, I didn't do that, right? And plus, I wasn't tall enough, big enough, disciplined enough, and quick enough. Didn't get enough God-given talent. But businesses, you can take a practical caveman and build a multi-billion-dollar company. True that. Facts. So when I saw that, I was like, that's the one I'm in, because that's non-discriminatory for what God gave you. Yeah. Because some people say, God gives us all the same thing. Well, how come he's 7'2"? I'm 5'11". He didn't give me none of that. You know? So the business, I was thinking anybody could do it, and I wanted the freedom. So it's just a math equation for me. So speaking of equation, I want to tell y'all two things, because I care a lot about both of y'all, or all three of y'all, business, along with my family that's in business. And sometimes I forget what I did, like before I got into this business. In other words, did I plant watermelons? Did I plant cucumbers, loofahs, whatever I planted? So what I planted, the 4 years of engineering, and I worked for 10 years in a textile mill, and it was a 10-year training program after my 4 years of college. And it was a big name company. They're not around anymore, mainly because of NAFTA. Ross Perot could explain to you what happened. But it was a big manufacturing company, and we had 3,000 employees in one building, and we were cranking out denim, and I got to train in all the other areas. And one of the things that was most boring and most interesting to me was a thing called time studies, or most. And there's a couple other words they use to describe it, and one of you guys, if you know it, you tell me. But it's what you do is you study a person with a you have a timer, and you have a little notepad, and what you're doing is you're writing down what they're doing. And so, like, if we're monitoring these machines, I'd walk around with a clipboard. I have a little clipboard, following them around. I'm dressed kind of like, you know, more business. Got white shirt, red tie, black pants, black, you know, a little brown on my nose. Y'all know what the little brown on my nose comes from? Because sometimes that's when you got your nose up people's butt, like the bosses. You say, yes, sir, yes, sir. I was that guy, right? Because I was trying to move up. Okay, this is before self-employment and understanding business. And so I'm walking around, and these old workers out there, you know, these textile workers, manufacturing workers, you know, got the T-shirt, got the hat on, got the chalk back in or whatever. And I'm writing down what they do. Well, what happened is we'd write down, like, take 5 minutes to go from one end of the machine to the other. It'd take like 2 seconds to get around to the other side, and then 5 minutes, you know. And they're working the whole way. And so you monitor it. And when you get through, you put down how much production they got, and how much they worked. And then you write down their break time. And then if they stop to chat, you write that down. So you do the math, and you figure out that in one day, they could put out 100 widgets. What's a widget? Whatever it is. Spool of cloth, spool of yarn, trash can, 100. And I'd show them results, and they go, I can't do 100 in a day. I said, you did 100 today. And I go, it must have been, the cotton must have been good. The grease must have been flowing. The electricity must have been hot. I must have had a lot of energy. I said, all right, we'll do it again next week. Because on the days that I didn't monitor them, they'd get 60, 50. But when I'm watching them, they get 100. And they get all their breaks, an extra smoke break, and 2 people stopping to talk to them. So everything mathematics showed me that they could do 100, take all their breaks, extra smoke break, and chat with 2 people that came by. Now, 3 people came by, they might get 99. But they already took extra break and extra smoke break. So I show it to them and say, so, well, maybe that was on a Tuesday, so we do it on a Thursday. And the math always works. So we have what we call standards. So when you say you thought you were working the whole time, Jared and Rachel, I would just say, like, you probably are. You look like smart people and good-hearted, and I'll be like, let's look at your statistics, not your explanation. There's this wise guy, he said, I want the facts in a box. I need a number. I just need a little box with a little number in it. I don't need all these words and explanations about how yesterday was a different today and Thursday is going to be another. I don't need all that. What I need is the mathematical equation to whether you're working or not. So when people say, I've made phone calls all day, I say, how many phone calls you make? They'd be like, I don't know, give me an example, Rachel, of an all-day margarita phone call session. How many calls that make?
Oh gosh, we maybe under 100, 60 to 100.
All right. So you say, well, 100. Well, you must have worked all day. I go, well, I was studying 2 hours. Exactly. How does he know it was 2 hours? Because we've done stats. And if you take if you just sit there and watch that, made a phone call, made a phone call, made a phone call, made a phone call, talk to somebody. Talking to somebody takes longer. And then you got to go to bathroom breaks. So you write that down. So you do the math on it. Bathroom breaks, cookie, kiss from your wife, praying, a little meditation. You should get 40 phone calls in an hour. So in mathematics, you go, I'm a little bit slower. Okay, so you should get 35. I'm a little bit quicker, 50. But the number's going to be, the stat's going to be 40. So if he says 100, work 2 hours maybe. Maybe 2 hours, 10 minutes. Got a little sneaks in. Now, nothing wrong with working 2 hours in a day. Let's just remember there's 24 available. So out of the 24, he knocked out 2. Now, so I'm not mad at anybody. I go, hey, look, I don't care if you work 15 minutes. But don't tell me you worked all day and it turns out this, because I worked in a cotton mill. And a lot of people go, what's cotton mill got to do? You learn something, you become a genius, you can see that I'm not, you got somebody video camera on me, tell me I ain't working? No, just math. So these mathematics, understanding this is massive when you're talking to people. Because if I said, y'all some lazy somebodies, your mom and daddy didn't make y'all get up in the morning, they just spoil y'all. See, then they get pissed off. But he said, I'm not emotional about it at all. I just like to look at the math. And let's take, here's this is big. I would say, Terry and Jason, this is just a reminder for you, for Jared, I'm going to tell you this. People don't know what I just said. They don't know it, believe it, understand it. They've never, ever been told. And you go, it's common sense. I think it's common sense. It ain't common sense because you've been hanging around us. So I went to NC State, and for 4 years, we had our calculators doing all this math and stuff and proving that this equals this. And then I worked in a mill where we're studying it. And then we'd write people up, give them warnings, fire them, take their income, ruin their life based on the math. On another person, based on the math, we'd double their pay. So I had 14 years of this beat into me. So when I came into this business, and I'm dealing with all these floozy salespeople in insurance, network marketing, and door-to-door sales, and they got no math. They just saying, I worked hard. I didn't work hard. I worked that. It's just math. So I came in screaming this, and we came up with all the stats so that people understand that in a typical hour, you should book 2 to 3 appointments. If you're terrible, 1. If it's less than 3, something's wrong. Now, it'd be like height and weight. 5'10", 350 pounds, a little bit on the large side. Now, I know everybody got their preference. I had a former partner, he liked them big. He liked them big. I like them big. So, whatever you like, you like. But don't tell me that that's standard. When I got 100 people, just go down to Walmart. That's probably not a good sample size. But let's say you get Chick-fil-A, get Walmart, get 25 of Chick-fil-A, 25 from Walmart, 25 from Ruth Chris. We do the math on them. 350 on a 510 frame is big. It's going to skew the average. That'd be like booking 15 appointments in 1 hour. You done skewed the average. But so we just do the math on it. I'm not good at math. You don't have to be good at math. You got to be good at not getting emotional. You got to be good at evaluating. So the more you guys can do stats with people, statistics, mathematics, simple add, subtract, multiply, and division. Y'all have heard me say that. I'm a genius when it comes to add, subtract, multiply, and division. I got my dumbs. You know what I mean? 1 of them 2 is 2. 2 of them, my dumbs. 2 of them 3 is 6. You know your dumbs, and you know your math, you know your add. That's all you got. This is huge to get the emotion out of it. Now, you still got to be careful because people get mad. And they call you a liar and prejudiced and this and that and the other. Look, I'm just a mathematician, man. Calm down, bro. You can take anybody. Come in here. It's interchangeable. Okay, that's huge. The other thing is this, and this is the math for all 3 of you guys. You've got to own a business. You've got to do the math on what you're doing, what it's worth, and who else can do it. I said a lot, but real quick, you've got to get really good at deciding where the money comes from. And where the money comes from is what somebody else can't do. Like, I can't be 7'4", can't be 7'2", so we pay the guy more. On top of that, he can dribble a basketball. Woo-hoo, but they pay him more. Okay? So, if what all of you can do, all 5 of you I've looked at, y'all can close. Like, you go to a house, you get a check. You're trying to get a person in the business, y'all can do that. A lot of people can't do that. Now, you're really good at cleaning your house. But other people can do it just as good. It's just hard. Jared, are you objecting? You saying people can't clean your house as good as you?
No, they can. I'm saying I can't. I'm not good at cleaning.
You're not good at cleaning. Okay, the first part's what you're like.
Yeah, first part. Yeah.
Well, here, let me tell you something. You could be trained to do that.
I could, but I don't want to.
No, you told us to get a house cleaner, so we did.
Yeah, we got
you might need a little motivation or something like that. But you can be trained to do that, but you can't train people to have a heart. You can't train them to care a lot, because people that care a lot get shit done. Like they get a check. Because people who don't care, they'll be like, that idiot ain't got no insurance. And he dies, his kid's going to be homeless. They going to have to move in this nasty old grandma because I seen his grandma. I'll be like, and you don't care? Well, it ain't up to me. See, you don't care. You're out of the picture. But people that care, they stay there. They be like, call the cops. I'm staying here until you get insurance. You call the police. Police come in, they be like, hey, they ain't got no insurance. Sent this card in. Then they call me disturbing the peace. They call me trespassing. You see that signature? Then you get a good cop. He gonna look at him. He go, y'all ain't got no life insurance. The hell's wrong with y'all? I should cuff you up and take you to jail right now. Get out your checkbook. That's what a good cop should do that cares. And a lot of them will do that. You say, well, I don't. No, hey, you ever had a cop calling you in the house? You find out what the cops do. But see, that's the care. Don't care, walks away. Do care, bear down. You hire a person. Hey, come over to the house for dinner. Hey, let's meet for coffee. Hey, it's 11 o'clock at night. What's up? Because you care. Closers care. You can't teach care. Some people just don't care. They're selfish. So what happens is you've got to decide what's the most valuable skills that are going on. I'm telling you one of them, which is closing. So if I could just close. Okay, so it's math. So if you got 100% return on your money here and a 0% return on your money, you put 50% of your money here, 50% here. this money's going to make 0 return. This is going to make 100. So 50 and 50, you put them together and you do the math, you're going to make a 50% return. 0 plus 100 is 100 divided by 2 is 50. So these are simple things, Jared. People, they couldn't explain this to save their child, their eyesight. They would just ramble about things that were, and future and history and what their mama did and their daddy did. And you're like, I don't care. They can't do the math. So what happens is, if you put all your money where you're making 100, then you make 100% return. Where it gets confusing is 100% return, 200% return, 50%, 20%, 3%, 1%, minus 7, minus 42. And so you put in your money into these different buckets, or you put your time into these different buckets. You put your time into this skill. I'm looking around. I don't have many people in the office, and the people can't explain that. They're struggling with this now. So you got 24 hours. That's how much time you have. So if you put each hour in a different subject, like 8 of your hours into sleeping, okay, 0% return immediately, but it's a good long term for health. Then you got your spouse. Then you got your children. Then you got closing, selling something. Then you got booking appointments. Then you got driving to the appointment. I'm on Zoom. Okay, who turns on your Zoom? Be damned if I'm turning on my Zoom. I teach somebody how to do that. But some people, they get the whole computer. And so what happens is now they put 3 minutes into a really low return. Well, it's just 3 minutes. That's like, just give me $5,000. You go, wow, it's nothing. It's just $5,000. Now, all of a sudden, it means something to you. So why does 3 minutes not mean something to you, but $5,000 means something to you? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's where do you put your time into something that has a high return of investment? Do you put your money in something that has a high return of investment? So what happens is y'all got to quit. You've got to gradually quit doing everything that makes less than $1,000 an hour. You really only want to work on things that make money, not the other things. So what happens is people say, so I need to hire a recruiter. Sure. I need to hire a secretary. Sure. I need to hire an administrative assistant. Yes. The problem is you need to hire it all. You need to be able to walk away. And Mathis says, I have screamed at Mathis on numerous occasions for various items that he needed to be screamed at for. But what I've also done, probably 10 times more than the one time I've screamed at him, 9 times, I've said, what a business he's built. Because he's got a good secretary, he's got a good cook, he's got a good cleaner, he's got a good appointment setter, he's got a supervisor, he's supervisor for the appointment setters. See, because you got 2 appointment setters, and then you're the supervisor for the appointment setters, which makes more than the appointment setters, but don't make as much as the closers. You see what I'm saying? But you say, if I got 2 appointment setters and I got to pay for a supervisor, I got to have a lot of money. Duh. If you want a lot of watermelons, you got to plant a lot of watermelon seeds. But then if you want to have watermelon next time, you got to keep some seeds. Or you're going to have to go buy some seeds. You got to sell some seeds and make some money. It's just math to me. So I'm encouraging you 3 to keep growing the quality of your support. Okay? Because like oftentimes I get people bring me their staff and they go, it's just like your staff. And I go, What are you looking through? Some kind of weird glasses? Because I don't see the staff. I don't see what you've hired and what I've hired, not the quality, not the same. And you say it's a judgment factor. You just have a different opinion of who you think's better. I go, mathematics. I look at the math. Because if I got a staff, if I've hired a recruiter and they ain't recruited nobody, see how that works? But I like them, and they're hey, how about this one? They're trying hard every day. Out there trying. They give it. They ain't getting no results. So it's kind of judgmental on results. But it's Terry, for you guys and Jared and Rachel, think about what's the highest quality person that you have right now. So let me real quick, I'm going to introduce you to 3 or 4 fairly new. Amir, come here. Each one of y'all come over here. Just be real quick. I want you to tell them. they're going to sell, like, pretend like they're going, like, hey, they're trying to hire somebody, and and you work for me, and they're going, hey, I'm going to hire you away from Andy. You should pay me more. So just tell them a little. And first of all, he's got the Wolfpack thing on. That's a good sign. But tell them just a little bit where your background, like, sell yourself.
My name is Amir Sevam. I'm 24 years old. I went to the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. Graduated last year. On the side, I play professional indoor soccer. So, like Andy was saying, I'm a little nuts about soccer, but I got to screw loose. Football. I got to screw loose. So, I'm a scratch and claw for everything I got. So, I've been here for.
What's your degree?
I was business management and supply chain.
It don't mean nothing, but I've seen you. I like it.
Yeah.
You like them, and then getting results. But I'm looking at his past results. If somebody gave him 50 cents to play football, he's professional. They pay him $10,000 a professional. If you ain't never got paid to play sports, you ain't never been a professional athlete. He's been a professional athlete. He's got paid to do it, which means you will break your finger if you have to.
Broke it 3 months ago.
All right, good job. Amir is a recruiter. He's also working, I understand he's working more in President's Club right now and assisting people through that. So stats, do they show up on time? Do they work late? Do they volunteer? Do they do extra stuff? And if you only got one person, anything they do is perfect. If you got two people, now you got a comparison. You got three people. This is one of the craziest things I ever said. To me, you know how good of a secretary you got until you get another secretary. You get two secretaries, then you know how good your secretary is. Sometimes you get that second secretary, you're like, my secretary is a genius. Sometimes you get secretary, and your first one not a genius. So the more you've seen, okay, same thing. Sell me. Sell us.
My name's Logan Vonderheide, 29 years old. Just moved down to North Carolina from New York. Back there, I had a background in pest control. Came down here, was knocking door to door, selling lawn care. Knew right away I wanted better for myself, so these guys found me. Just trying to grow, learn, and get after it.
Advertisement, we found you, or did you know Patrick?
No, so I was a recruiter. Bree reached out to me and came here, took the tour, did the interview.
How long you been door knocks? Like how many years, months?
It was only about 7 months.
So only 7 months.
Yeah.
It's like only being in solitary for 7 months, or only being in prison for 7 months, only standing on your head, butt naked, spitting nickels for 7 months.
Yeah.
It's just relative on what you're doing for 7 months. 7 months of door knocking. Any idea? Just guess. Give me a big number. How many doors you think you knocked on?
Minimum 80 to 100 a day. Other than that, I would get written up.
80, 100 a day for 7 months, or you get written up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And did you say you did home improvement sales too?
Pest control.
All pest control in New York and here?
Nope, just in New York. I did that from the time I was 20 till I moved here, so about seven and a half years.
7.5 years or 7.5 months?
So pest control was 7.5 years. When I got down here knocking door to door, that was about 7 months, 6 to 7
When
months.
you were doing the other pest control, was that door to door too?
Nope. So I started off as a technician, and then moved into the sales side of things, where I was more doing inspections and just trying to upsell and close deals from there.
See, I say education one way or other. He's only 24, he's 29. He's got 5 more years of sales, but he's got 4 years of UNCG, University of North Carolina, Greensboro business. What makes him so smart about that? It's just, he did it and he graduated, and he did it and he didn't get killed, and he didn't quit, and he didn't cry, and he's like, I'm getting out of sales, I'm going to work at the DMV, which is fine. It's not a bad career choice, or as a teller at the bank or whatever, All right, bro, good to see you. Thank you. Glad you're on the team. Andy, when they named Andy, they're going to be good. That's the first qualification.
Hi, my name's Andy Matthews. I graduated from Florida State University with a degree in marketing. I just moved here about 2 weeks ago from South Florida. And before this, I was doing recruiting in the life science industry for about a year and 8 months.
When did you graduate Florida State?
2022.
All right. How long? You been here a week?
2 weeks yesterday.
2 weeks yesterday. All right. Have you made any recruiting calls, Mike? If you do it like this, it always works better. Have you made any recruiting calls yet?
I've called called, or actually spoken to 2 people now.
How'd that go?
One was a little bit rocky. It was the first one. She wasn't super responsive, so it was a little bit more difficult, but the second one went much better.
There's going to be 1,000 people see this, so think before you say it. But the last couple of days, I've done some recruiting calls in front of y'all. Kind of give them a description of it, some good Florida State marketing words for my recruiting, where I was showing y'all what I say and how I say.
Very confident, just very personable. Like, you treat the other people on the other line like a human, and also just to see you be on the phone is very different and just very motivating.
What do you mean by see me? Like, you're watching me, but what do you mean by that? What's the visual thing that comes across that you feel like was there?
You're very animated in it. Like, you're just completely engulfed and just involved in the conversation. You learn about the past, what they're doing, their families. You ask really in-depth questions.
How much do I sell them on how great our leads are or systems? You give up.
You're focused more on them rather than, I guess, us, and how they could play into a good role here.
Can you see me making a decision, like whether I really think they're worth the crap?
Within the first minute.
Because because if I'm not interested, how's the conversation go? And then if I am really interested in them, how's it go?
Definitely a different question set. What you're saying is different versus kind of the type of person they are on the other end.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you get it good, and I hope you kill it. You need to make a maternal call, so let me hang it. Nicole, thank you, Andy. S with an I-E, not a Y. And it's not just an I, it's an E. Light them up, Nicole.
Hey all, my name is Nicole Hunt. I am born and raised here down in North Carolina. I graduated from Catawba College back in 2020 with my degree in communications, and I also played collegiate lacrosse while I was there. My past couple of years, I've been in recruiting. I've done staffing, I've done tech, and my last position, I just came from the beer industry, so that was a fun time. Now we're over here at the Alliance, rocking and rolling.
Who does more free beer, them or us?
It's a tie. We did have an open bar down there, so I'm waiting to get one here.
I saw a bunch of beer down there. All right, go ahead. Where'd you go to school? Where'd you say you went to school?
Catawba College, down in Salisbury, North Carolina.
You graduated from there?
I did, back in 2020.
What's your degree?
Communications.
All right, that's what Haley graduated in.
That's the easiest one to do.
Who can't talk? I got a degree in talking.
I did. Okay. I got straight A's in that too. Okay. I like to hear myself a little bit.
Facts. That's my facts, girl. Facts.
But I've been here with the Alliance for about 4 months or so now. I'm enjoying my time, learning a lot from everybody, my team, Andy especially. Still learning, still growing, and excited to, kick.
Tell them what you just did. Tell them what you just did, where you went on a trip.
Oh, yeah. So I just got back from Salt Lake earlier this week. I was down there with Joseph Dukes. He had a hot spot. Learned some great stuff from him. Shout out to Joe Dukes. You're the man. He is also holding one the 18th as well, with some great people showing up in Salt Lake. So if you have anybody, you know anybody, or you want to trip down, might as well go. It'll be a great time.
Who'd you go talk to?
I went to go see Mallory Guest. One of my new agents. Yeah, she's doing good. She's running appointments. She made her first 2 sales last week. Personal use, of course. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'ams. So my team, we're still rocking and rolling. All my recruiters here have been kicking butt, but I'm trying to kick their butt, so I'm going to keep it going, okay?
Good job. Thank you, buddy. Proud of you. So, thank you. And I don't want to give them experience to, talking, but see, here's the thing. So there's a supervisor of them. The people that kind of coordinates is Patrick Waddell. And by the way, Clay's getting married this weekend, Saturday, right? All right. So Clay is out there, and so they all headed out for that wedding. So here I tell people, hey, you should send your recruiter to go talk to them in Utah, and they go like, or Miami, and they go like, oh, you think I got a staff that can get on an airplane by themselves? You think they can get a rental car? You misunderstood who I hired. Like, you have no idea. Well, like, what would you have to pay a person as far as salary that can get on a plane and go somewhere? That's bizarre. Like, you gotta be kidding me. So you got a person that can go get you dry cleaning, bring you a coffee. Speaking of coffee, Faith. But just she does 100 more. She's quality. She does a lot of great things. But I'm saying, there's you got somebody to do something, right? But like, who can you get to put on a plane, and then who can you get supervised? And then if they're doing something wrong, you got to. Do you want to be the person that tells them they suck, or you want to tell them that they're not doing this, and this, and such, or do you want to have a supervisor tell them? Because you got to do it. It takes time. I got to eat 4 of these and explain to them the highest ROI and which bucket makes money and all that stuff. I ain't got time for that. What are you doing? Closing. I'm recruiting. I'm closing recruits. I'm getting people. Think about what dollar amount would this be, Jason, per hour? What is it worth if I inspire Jared and Rachel to hire more quality people and more staff? Like, what is the value? Like, my minute of talking, what is that worth? How do you put a number on it, Jason? And you're one of the best delegators that we've seen. I'm not calling him lazy. When I say he's a delegator, he's not lazy, because I'm a delegator too. My wife said, "You don't do nothing sometimes." I'll be like, "Except for that." I want to do this. Okay, Jason.
Yeah, being a great delegator is a great skill set. I love what you were saying about your learning your Six Sigma, your time audits that you did at corporate America, and I love the way you incorporated the simplicity into the activity numbers. Learning how to do something that people don't like to do or don't know how to do. You touched on it, cleaving people from their dysfunction and still getting them to like you and listen to you. And then they do more of what you tell them to do. This is a high-paying skill set. So you just asked me that question, what is it worth to me to do that? I remember when I recruited Terry Edwards, I was scared of Terry Edwards when I met him. We started talking and communicating. He sent me a picture of himself, and I saw in the background all these books he had, and he was reading. I was like, oh my God, this joker's a reader. He's smart. He's got this, that, and the other. And I was like, you know what? I need to send this young man to a higher power. And I knew it wasn't me. And I was like, because I was like, he's got educated. I could just tell. And so my big thing somebody asked me, Erica Gold asked me a couple of days ago, she's like, well, what did you do to coach Terry Edwards? Like, how did you coach Terry Edwards up? And I said, I'll tell you what I did with Terry Edwards. This is how great I was with Mr. Edwards. I pushed Mr. Edwards straight to Andy Albright. So the system is unbelievable, and so you got to know that. And just learning. I remember getting a call from a Mr. Doucette, and I will not use the exact words on this recorded call. I will use a different word. And he calls me up, and he's talking about your Six Sigma and your time audit you would do on your employees at your job. He calls me up, and he goes, this is when he was in his Margaritaville days. He goes, we ain't getting the results. What is going on with this system? He goes, don't Flapjack tell me it comes down to my schedule. And he didn't say the word flapjack. You replace that with another F word. So I pleasantly listened and didn't say anything, because when you get this call, I call these the jumper calls. In my mind, I'm like, we got a jumper. So you just got to listen. You just listen. Don't fix them. So he just talked to me. Now, now Jared's a lion. So I let him talk and let him get it out. And I told him, I said, Jared, I hate to tell you, but it comes down to your schedule. And so to his credit, he did it. I said, you got to do a time audit. I call it a time audit. Figure out what you're doing, man, with every single minute of the day. And I guess that's where it dawned on them that they was just, with all the margaritas and all the blending and all the getting up and getting out of they had that pool, getting up and making the dials and remaking the margaritas, salting the rim. They was doing a full 2 hours
That's generous.
of work.
That's all. Yeah.
And when that dysfunction finally, when I put him through the system and when he realized it himself, then it became his idea to fix it. And so cleaving people from their dysfunction is huge. I remember dealing with another agency owner, and this agency owner is like number 12 in sales nationwide now, but she says this from stage now, so I can say it. Marnie Frank was like, I'm full-time with this business, and I ain't getting the results. I'm like, well, let's look at right to Andy Albright, Six Sigma data activity numbers. I said, let's look at them. So we looked at it. She had over 13 weeks of data, and at the bottom, it averages it up. We averaged it up 67 dials a week on average. She's like, I'm like, you're full-time? She's like, I'm full-time. This is crazy. I'm not getting the results that Olga's getting and Michelle Colin and Barojas and these other people in Tampa. And I'm like, Marnie, 60, how many dials you make an hour? I just asked the question. She's like, I make 35, $40 an hour. I said, we'll take the bottom figure. 35 will go into 67. How many times? That's how many hours. You're like something, little less than 2 hours. What are you doing with the rest of your time? Well, I'm like, what are you doing? You got to do a time audit. So, she had to work through that. So, getting people to realize these things. What do you say? All the people, what do I say? I say, rich people read books. That's what rich people do. You know what richer people do? They write them. So, after you read a couple of books, and they get with the program, you do it. I say, don't get into the hole of dysfunction with people, and learning to cleave them from it is it's magical, and it's freedom, baby. It's freedom. And it's the same thing with the people you hire, Andy. I was telling Jared was telling me about his assistants. He's like, man, I caught them cheating. It's company theft. They said, they was doing this many dials per hour, but he's like, what are they doing the other 5 hours they got the rest of the day? And he found out they was like staying off, not making dials because they had hit the three interview sets per hour mark, and they didn't want to blow it, so they quit dialing. He's like, how do you manage these people, Jason? I'm like, I don't. I hire a manager because, water will seek the lowest point. So if you got a nice car, don't put it in the lowest point of the garage, people. Put it on the highest point. Andy, when you hire people, they should know automatically that gravity is real. Okay? So lesson learned if you got a nice car and a hurricane's coming. So it's like, how do you help people help themselves realize when they're walking into and they're in the midst of this dysfunction? And even for yourself, guys, I mean, you touched on it about who's coaching you earlier in this call. You're like, who are you going to allow to speak into your life to help you? If you can learn from your own mistakes quickly and not have to learn that mistake 3, 4, 5, 7 times, you'll be a normal person. That's kind of what happens in life. You learn it, then you got to relearn it. As a kid, you learn it, then you learn it as a teenager, and then as a young adult, as an adult. By the time you get in your 40s, you're like, yeah, it ain't a good idea. I'm going to quit doing it, right? But if you can learn, get a coach or mentor, maybe somebody who's written a book or two, okay, and they'd be like, yeah, here's where your business is at this stage, and you've got to make a decision, this fork or that fork. And like, that left fork looks really good. Right there, I can see the oasis and the palm trees, and there's a margarita bowl mixer right there, and it's a pool, and I can go over there and make dials and everything. It looks so wonderful in the sun and everything. Or the other fork is more dials and no margaritas, and there's a lot of brambles and a lot of thorns. But I'm like, yeah, that one fork looks real enticing. But you got to take that, because that's the only easy thing is that margarita, and that alcohol is nowhere to go. But that other fork, after that hard part of learning how to make dials and learning how to do your schedule and stick to your schedule, and if you learn how to teach people this lesson of time management, if you can learn it yourself, you're good, you're farther ahead. But if you can get someone to teach you to teach it, if you can learn how to train the trainer, your business will.
Facts. You're getting good, man. Accurate and good. And pushing Terry, I appreciate you giving me credit for being smarter to talk to Terry. You could have went with, I wanted somebody that had worked in tobacco fields. Me and Terry did. I want somebody whose uncle smoked cigarettes and fixed cars. Mine did, Terry did. So he pushed him to somebody that would be like, understand where you come from. Like, understand. And I mean, that's not your world, Jason. You come from that banker world and I don't know what else world, but it wasn't from a tobacco field. It wasn't from them smoking cigarettes, fixing, but Terry did. So when he pushed him, me and Terry hit it off. But Terry also, I recognize that Terry's got the master's degree. Him and his wife both got master's degrees. They both had good corporate jobs. They also had businesses on the side. And they were very educated. Not sophisticated educated, but smart. They understood farming. They understand smoking. They understand fixing cars. They understand working hard. They understand working at night. They understand trying to collect when you got a business. And so they brought a lot to the table.
Not only that, Andy, but when I drove to Atlanta to go meet Terry and he showed the plan for the first time and got in front of about 12 people, he got in front of a room, I was like, holy shamoly, this guy is
skilled.
He's the real deal. I mean, I'm telling you, he was like a mini Albright up there. He had the enthusiasm and he was brand new at it. I was like, he's way better than me.
He's good. Him and Tia both good. Hey, I want to tell you this, Terry, before I turn it over to you and Tia. And I want you to talk more about the entrepreneur side, Terry. Like coming into this business, like how many tears you shed about being an entrepreneur, self-employment, the American dream, baby, where you're respected and you fly in first class. But I'm gonna turn it over to Terry. But I'm gonna tell you this: Terry's got this young guy that's just coming on board and coaching him. And I don't know what all Terry's saying to him, but I text him, asked him to want to go somewhere with me, and he answered back, "I'm in. I'll go." And I started laughing because he didn't know where or when. And then, so I said, "All right, you're in. I'll get the details." And then he called, and he said, "Hey, I was in an appointment. That was my wife who said, I'm in. She saw you invited, but she wanted me to be with you, so she said, you're in." And then he goes, "When are we going and where we're going?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like me. He's trying to move up. And so the opportunity, the window, jumped all over it. And he got a spouse wanting him to do it too. So you just go like, so then what happens is, it's kind of like if you plant a bunch of watermelons, cantaloupes, you got grapes, whatever you're growing, you see one start to grow, you protect. You don't want the animals messing with that one. You put that one more dookie around it, more water. You with me? Like you're looking around, so when you see, so it's kind of like you see good, then you put more on it, more resources. You don't take good resources and put them on a plant that it can't hardly grow. You go, well, maybe he's just a pitiful plant. Yeah, maybe he's just a pitiful plant. But I'm looking at the big plants and looking at the ones that want to grow, one that took off. Anyway, talk about the entrepreneurialism, Terry, because we're trying to get people to understand. It's nothing wrong. I love sales. I'm going to give away bonuses, trips. We're going to go to Thailand. We're going to go to Cabo. We're going to go to ball games. We're going to do all kinds of stuff with producers, right? But the business people, the business people. Hey, I want to take young people on a private jet, and we go to the airport, and I go, "You think that person is a basketball player?" No, because you don't see anything. Now, I mean, just go around and see that guy right there. They do plumbing, they do toilet seats, they do paper, they do electricity. They do insurance. They do real estate. They got restaurants. Business people drive those planes. Now, occasionally you'll see there's Michael Jordan's jet. He's right down here in Charlotte. It's badass. You'll see it. Or race car drivers will get out there. But I almost do them as workers. They're almost like workers to me. But it's very seldom do you see the athlete or the Taylor Swift or the. I mean, I would stop my jet if I went by Kid Rock's jet. I mean, that's a badass jet. He's got American badass. Oh, as he says on his jet, American badass. You know, but you don't see that. What you see is dookie movers or pencil makers or textile work, or textile manufacturing. It's been business. And those are the people that you don't know who they are, and they will sit down in a restaurant, order whatever they want, people waiting on them, and you go like, who is that person? Nobody knows. They're not famous. They're just stupid, rich, and free. Entrepreneurialism, Terry and Tia. Got a wonderful family. Congratulations. I'm going to shut up.
Hey, man. Albright, thank you so much for this opportunity, man. But Jason, I want to go back to something that Jason said. Jason said he connected or threw me up to you, which is true. But what Jason didn't say is he didn't stop working on himself. A lot of times people throw people and then say, I just want to sit back and get the overrides. No, Jason and Olga were working. They were already making $10,000 a month or $7,000 or $8,000 a month when I first got started. And they continued to get wide. They are still wide right now as far as building this business. So Jason didn't just throw us up and stop working on himself. Oh my gosh, the growth in I've just seen the growth in him just as a person and his losing weight. Like he's been working on himself like nobody's business. So I think that's very, very important. And it's all about ownership. Entrepreneurship is about ownership. Our Declaration of Independence of the United States of America says that we have 3 unalienable rights: the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what ownership and entrepreneurship is all about, is owning the American dream. What makes it real to me, Andy, is what is my dream? What do I want? I wanted, when I was working in the banks, I thought personally, working in the credit union, I would learn about money. But what I learned that was most people in America was living at different levels of broke. The janitors was broke. The school teachers were broke. The college professors was broke. They was making just enough money to get by into the next paycheck. And not only were they doing that, me and Tia found ourselves in that same rut of working just to pay bills and to do it all over again. And we got tired of it. We said, there is more to life than this right here. So we started side hustling. We were scratching and clawing, trying to get free. Tia was a social worker by day. I was a banker, but then at night, we'll put a vacuum cleaner and a mop bucket in the back of our cars, and we will go and clean buildings from 6 p.m., sometimes to 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And then we got a staff. And we was like, wait a minute. Some of our staff is netting more than what we netting because we was tracking our numbers. Ain't no need to do something and you can't track it. If it ain't making dollars, guess what? It ain't making no sense, baby. So we was like, wait a minute, there's got to be something else out there. And then we started doing network marketing, and they started opening our eyes to personal growth and development. So those books that Jason was talking about, that was because we was a part of a network marketing company, and they started having us read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They started saying stuff like, you can make a living. They started talking about passive residual income. They started showing me young people making $30,000 a month residually. And I was like, I ain't got that. I want me some of that, baby. And so it's like a lot of times we can't grow further than our exposure. And I thank God for the exposure of network marketing, because then it gave us another dream. of, you know what, if these people can get free, we can get free too. And then we found the alliance opportunity. And I was like, wait a minute. Jason said, you need to drive up to Burlington, North Carolina. Now, keep in mind, first 30 days, we made over $8,000 cash. I was fired up. You ain't ever got us in there to make this much money. What you doing? Somebody going to jail. I'm like, well, hell, if anybody going to jail, it's Mutual of Omaha. I'm just a street hustler. They the kingpins, baby. You know what I'm saying? So, but I got around. He said, drive up to Burlington, and I want you to meet Andy Albright. So I drove up to Burlington, and guess what? I ain't come by myself. I got a guy that was in Atlanta. He was a retired sergeant. Got him in the car with me. I picked up Twan Bellamy on the way up, stopped in Lexington, and I came to a TWC, and I met you. And I was like, wait a minute, this joker is just as country as I am. You mean to tell me he living like this? He got a condo on his wrist. What I mean by that, his watch costs more than some people's house. I was like, wait a minute, and he got a wife that love him. And he got children that's doing great things. Like, this is what I want. And I saw other couples. I saw Mike and Noel Leventovich killing it. I saw Alex and Heather killing it. I saw Stephen and Holly Davis, Andy Riddle, Jason and Olga, Adam and Beth Katz. And I'm like, wait a minute, it ain't no fun if my homies can't get none, baby. I got to get me some of this. So you talk about caring. I cared enough about this opportunity to say, wait a minute, I got a responsibility, ownership stake to help expand the influence of the alliance. So I went out and sold at least 20,000 issue paid every single month. Tia was recruiting. We was trying to figure this thing out. We was locked in. We wanted to be respected by the people we respected. We wanted to care about our clients, and we wanted to care about our agents. And because of consistent work, we were able to no, I ain't gonna say debt free, because we still got one big debt called a mortgage. But anyway, but when we came here, Andy, we was full of ambition. We had a lot of debt, but we never lost the dream. Let me Shador Sanders. Never lost the dream, baby. We ain't lose the dream. And we saw this opportunity as a platform to not only make our dreams come true, where we now can make decisions. We ain't got all the money that we want, but we sure ain't where we used to be. Where we can be active in our kids' lives. You know, our children are getting ready to go to college and looking at schools, and we're able to be there, and we're able to help our parents. More importantly, Andy, we're able to help ourselves, because before you can help somebody else, you got to be able to help yourself. And it's like, you talk about standards. Like, we already had a standard for what we wanted our family to be. And then when we got around the Alliance family, our standards grew. And every time we get to another level, we want to keep growing that standard. And then we go out to the cabin and we see 150 acres of rolling hills and that gum core ponds and all that stuff. And I'm like, if he can have it, we can have it too. So I'm just grateful. We want acres.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We want a gentleman's farm. Mm-hmm. We want some animals. Mm-hmm. So we have done a great job taking this coaching, and we've taken a lot of stuff. Tia did an excellent talk at family, one of them events, family reunion, about our parachute packers. We learned that from you guys, of house cleaners, and we've delegated a lot of stuff off our personal page so that we can sell, recruit, and build. Now it's a whole nother season coming where we have to develop an internal staff of recruiters so that we can now freaking scale like nobody's business. So we're just grateful, man. We want to be able to pursue life. We want to be free. We don't want to be under the thumb of a man. And we want to pursue happiness. what we can do for ourselves and do for other people. And that's what ownership. That's what and last thing I would say is that right here, there is a tremendous amount of pressure that comes when you take on ownership because people are dependent on you. But I was in a 4th grade classroom the other day, and the teacher was talking about the pressure of these kids having to pass these intergrade tests. And the teacher said this. He said, pressure is a privilege, because without pressure, coals don't become diamonds, baby. So if you're out there and you're saying, I want freedom, but I don't want the pressure, that, hey, baby, you can't get free without the pressure. And at the end of the day, the pressure is coming. It's a pressure to be free, and it's pressure to be under the hand of the enemy. The question is, you choose the pressure. You choose your pressure.
That's good. I can't even come behind that, Andy.
You can tell whatever you want to say, but I want to hear about the kids. I want a brief update on the kids. They got to be excited about mom and daddy.
Oh, yeah, and oh my goodness. So, of course, they're keeping us busy. It's beautiful watching them grow, Andy, and blossom into young adults, I guess I can say now. And so, we have 2 seniors now, Anaya and Elijah. And just watching them receive offers, Elijah's receiving football offers right now. They're getting offered at colleges. Elijah got offered just last night. He came in there running to me. And then this week on Tuesday, Isaiah tore his Achilles on the same day I had surgery in April. And the doctor just released him. Isaiah always wanted to have an opportunity to play with Elijah his senior year. So Isaiah started back on the football field Wednesday. So the doctor has released him to play football starting next Friday. They start playoffs. I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to leave it in God's hand. And then Taylor, she's just staying busy doing her hip hop dance now and tap and just running the house. But it's just beautiful just watching them where they started at, Andy, to where they are right now. And we was having dinner with Anaya. The boys was out with their football team. And she said, so how do y'all have such big vision and how y'all are building this business, and what are y'all thinking? I said, we basically said, Anaya, is who you're associating yourself with. I know you think we're hard on you, but if you want to be something massive, if you want to set an example out there for the cheerleaders, for your friends, it's your association. So we went back to the Alliance. We're grateful for the Alliance on what y'all, the leaders, have taught us. And it's like y'all open our vision up on how to dream big. I said, Terry and I have always been dreamers, even in high school when we used to sit in a corner and dream where we was going to stay, how many kids we were going to have, what kind of car, houses, and all of that. But it's getting around the right people like y'all that have the land, that have the houses, and you're out here blessing so many people. I said, so that is what we're copying. We're trying our best to copy. So we're trying to set the example for y'all to do the same thing, but doing a whole nother level than what we at right now. So I'm just thankful. We're not finished this run, and it's like Wednesday call and today's call has really blessed me because I know that Terry and I can really take this thing to another level. 2024 has been a up and down year for us in the business, with our parents, with close family members. But that's why we cannot get off these calls. That's why we can't stop coming to big events, because we're going to encourage and lift one another up. Jason, I don't have to talk to you every day, but just watching your growth has really blown my mind. And just hearing you talk about how you have somebody fixing your meals so you can continue.
I want to live in. I can't get a live in.
No. Terry, I'm not doing that.
Hey,
but
I'm trying to get Muy Flaco.
But just hearing how you have somebody fixing your healthy meal so you can stay busy in the business. I'm like, daggone, she ain't coming to live in my house, but it's time for Tia to find somebody. I ain't
Come on, Tia.
She ain't coming to live with me, Andy.
Y'all buy that. Terry, buy that house right beside you. Say, if I buy this house, can she stay in that house?
That's a good idea right there.
We had thought about that, but look, she can come in the house and fix our meals, and I'm just excited. That's why it's so important to just keep being around this right here, because it fires you. It should fire you right back up again.
And I will say this right here with Isaiah, when he tore his Achilles, that's a big injury for a football player, especially a defensive lineman. And his mindset from the very beginning was, they said 9 to 12 months. He said, I'm going to be back in 6 months. Mm-hmm. And he worked his butt off. And Wednesday, when his first day of practice, I went out there towards the end of practice just to put my eyes on him. And the coaches came up and said, if any kid was going to come back from this injury, we knew it was going to be him, because he puts in the work. He worked in his PT sessions, and he was in the training room, and he was lifting. He was doing everything that he was supposed to do. And when he got home that evening, he was like, you and Mom have shown us and shown me that when you set your mind to something, can't nobody keep you from it. So, like I said, man, we're just grateful. It ain't about us. It's about this team. And
That's it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, congratulations. It's results. There's people gonna hear this, Terry and Tia, and Jared and Rachel. They go hear this and they go like, I don't need all this fluff. I just need to tell you what to do. This is we're telling you. You got to protect your time, your mind, your money. Everything's important. And whether you do stuff that has a low ROI or a high ROI. And a lot of people go like, well, I got to have my entertainment. I got to have my relaxation. Okay, we don't care. Nobody cares. Like, you got to care more about you. I thought you said you care a lot. Yeah, but I'm not going to cuss you out and scream at you because you slander your life. You just waste your time, and your wife's mad, and you're getting divorced, and your kids hate you, and they ain't got no money, and they can't go to school, and you can't pay your bills. Not my problem. I thought you cared. I care. I'm teaching, but I can't make you. I can't hit you with a stick. Can't care that much. And I got somebody else who does care that plant is blossoming, so I pour the gas on it. So this is not fluff. This is the most important stuff. We're going to teach you what to say on the phone when a client says hello, and we tell you what to say. Yes, we'll tell you exact word to say, and we'll tell you the tone in which to say the word. Okay, so it's not like we're not going to teach you every little thing, but this is very important for people that want to own a business. So the next thing, I want to give you this. I'm going to let you, Rachel and Jared, wrap it up with, why are you so excited about the future, and what are you going to do about it? Okay, so you're thinking, why are you so excited about the future, and what are you going to do about it? In other words, what are you going to do? But here's what you want to do. While y'all are thinking, Jared and Rachel, Terry and Tia and Jason, what you do is you start training people. You set the level real low. What I got to do, here's what you got to do, or you might as well quit. You got to be on these Wednesday calls. It's called the Wednesday call. That way you can remember what day it is. TWC, the Wednesday call. We've got Thursday call at 1 o'clock. There's training products. You got to watch it and get an hour in training. You ain't got to train all the time products, but you got to get an hour in. And then Friday we do the activity call. And then if you have a call, or if Riddle has a call, or you got 13 other calls you'll be on, but you got to get on these 3 because this is where the power players are. And then you might be on Brandon Manley's call. You might be on Fitz's call. But this low is just 3, and then it might be 4. And then you got to do sit there. What'd be cool is you took notes, pay attention, focus. So set it low. You got to come to the national convention in January. I ain't got no money. Well, you got a credit card. You got a mama. You got a cousin. You could sell something. Like, set it low where anybody could do it. But then just, you're nicely demanding. So if somebody calls, like right now during the show, I'll be like, hey, you're supposed to be on the show. I thought, like, expect what you inspect. don't believe anything unless you confirm it. But again, what you're confirming is, are they on the call? Do they know what we talked about? So there's been references that Terry and Tia have made about stuff from Wednesday. I know they watched the call. Where there's other people, I talk to them and they're frustrated on your team, Jared, or they're frustrated on your team, Jason, and they wasn't on the call Wednesday. They wasn't on the product call and they wasn't on this one. And we're just like, so when you're training somebody and you care about them, if it's your kid or if it's an agent you like what, Mallory, did you hear Albright? Like, I'll be texting her. Did you hear Albright talking about you? Did you hear me talking about you? And they go, I'm going to watch it later. Say, that's cool, no problem. And then you call them and you say, Mallory, look, what I'd really like for you to do, I know it's earlier because you're going to the West Coast or out in the Midwest, so I need for you to get on these calls every time. It's very important. Me and you will be in sync on Wednesdays at 12:30 Eastern. We're in sync. So what you do is you get them in sync with you. But it's a low, like if you can't do that, you want me to step away at dinner and take a phone call from you, but I can't get you to watch a call? Like, I'm not mad and I don't want to take something and hit the wall with it, but I care about you and you just don't care. So that's where you're emotional about something as silly and simple and easy and low line is get on the see what I'm saying? But the more you can convince them to do that, now they've got the low, now we can lift it up. Now we're going to have to make phone calls. Mondays we make calls for Tuesday and Wednesdays. Thursdays we make calls for Friday. So then we start lifting it up. Then we talk about delegating, talk about recruiting, talk about hiring staff, talk about traveling, talk about going to Utah, talk about going to Miami. So it just keeps layering. But we've got to get to basics first. Okay. The better we hammer this, 15 minutes reading, there's 8 steps that are simple, caveman could do. Simple. All right, wrap us up, Rachel and Jared. Proud of you. Super proud of y'all. If it feels like some of the moments you probably feel like we're beating y'all, we ain't beating y'all. We're proud of y'all. Like, y'all are it. Like, y'all are like, we're envious. Y'all are years younger than us. You've got these little babies growing up. Ours are getting to be seniors and married and babies, and you just starting out. We're pulling for y'all because one day you're going to be the oldest one on the show, and you're going to have these youngins on your team. Like, we're setting you up. You're proteges. Wrap us up. How excited are you? What are you going to do about it?
Super excited, super grateful to be on the call with Terry, Tia, Jason, and you for a couple times over the past couple weeks. But one of the things you had said a couple, like on the Wednesday call, was, we saw a change in you guys in the last 6 months. It's like, for 2 years, we just stepped out on faith that what Jason was saying was true. That what you were saying, we just believed that it was true, and we knew that it was hard. And like, there was times where we were like, well, they said it was, but something ain't working right. And like, all of it came back to us and accountability. Like the margarita thing, like that was 100% true. And I did not say flapjacks. It was a couple more F-bombs that were dropped. But it's like, what's got us so excited is that just for being faithful to the system and consistently doing the work, we've gotten tastes of what, a living. We've gotten tastes of a living in the form of, like, when our son is sick, Rachel can stay home with him. She can go volunteer and do stuff. Or, Tuesday mornings, we get to go walk on the beach. And it's so interesting because the only other people who are there are people in their 70s. There's not too many 34-year-olds walking around the beach, and homeless people too. They will be at the beach in the morning. So it's a weird juxtaposition, but that's what we're excited about, is getting the taste of what this is going to become and getting to travel and then trying to pull people with us. Like we just booked a trip to go to Dallas and then Atlanta because we have a couple legs out there now, and they wouldn't have been there if we didn't go there last time. But now we're bringing our downlines, we're dragging them to Atlanta to say, hey, listen, you need to get here. You need to get people here. So like trying to duplicate the stuff that you guys have taught us. And you always said to us, you guys going to get serious about this thing. And like now we see it. Like it was like, you want to sell insurance or do you want to build a business? And like now, when you talk about what's your most profitable skill, like it's not selling insurance, like we can do that, but we have the capacity to show 100 people how to do it in a year. And it's shame on us, and we're doing our family and our team a disfavor if we don't go and travel and show them. because we have the capacity to do it. So shame on us for not doing it the past 2 years, but like we're locked in now, and we can't wait to get out there and travel around and see people and help people. So that's what's got me fired up mostly.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see the growth that's happening, not just on our team, but in the Alliance as a whole. The recruiting is picking up. And, it's funny because our boys are around us so much in this business that, like, my son knows my recruiting script, but he's like in the background mocking me as I'm doing it, and they know all about the Alliance, and they're only 6 and 8. So it's pretty cool to see that their personal growth is happening too. Even when you think that your kids or your family isn't watching or listening, they are.
Yeah.
And it makes you think that your team is the same way. Your downlines are the same way. You got to teach them the same way. So I'm just excited for the growth. I'm
excited. Our kids think we're related to Jim Rohn because I put them on in the car when we're driving, and they go, "Who is this?" They go, "Oh, it's Uncle Jim." Like, so it'll be a funny conversation in like 10 years where they're like, "Dad, we never knew this guy. Like, what are you talking about?"
But they quote him and
yeah, it's funny, and they hit us with stuff sometimes too. So that's what I'm excited about, is like the lifestyle. The money's going to come, but the lifestyle's there.
Yeah, and working towards that freedom, Andy. You talk about all the time that there's 168 hours in a week, and what are you doing with those hours? I want 168 hours of freedom. It's going to look different for everybody, but it's starting now. Like Jared said, I get to go be here with the kids when they're sick. Both of them are home sick today, and there's still income coming in. I get to go and volunteer in the community at the zoo or wherever I need to be, or go on field trips or do whatever I need to do to help my freedom. 168 hours. Like, what does that look like for everybody? I'm excited to see what that's going to be for us in just a few more years. Only being 3 years in the Alliance, but we've grown so far. It's just the beginning.
Next big opportunity, simple and easy to attend, is our convention coming up in Dallas, January 23, 24, 25. I think this is pretty cool. I texted Coffee Anderson and Damon West, or Coffee Bean we call him. And I'm gonna post the story of Damon West's life sentence in prison at age of 27. He got out after 7 years of hard time. Almost got killed. Who knows? Crazy stuff we'll never hear about. Now he got out of prison, talking to people about how to run your life, mistakes he made. And then Coffee Anderson, incredible rising country music star. Those two, and then y'all heard who Coffee Anderson speak if you were at our last convention, but they're going to be together at our convention. And then and Dr. Caracas Watkins will be there. Now, that's incredible. Electrical engineer, another brother from another mother, just a lot of things. His kids are doing big things. But he'll be there Saturday night hanging out with us, chit-chatting, hanging out in the crowd. And then he'll be there Sunday morning at our optional worship service, which he'll be talking about how his life was changed. And he's a prosperity guy. He's talking about the dream building. But those three guys are going to be there in addition to Jason Mathis and Olga Mathis, in addition to Terry and Tia and Rachel and Jared, and in addition to Jeremiah Adaki, who's leading the country right now. Unbelievable sales, recruiting, getting wide. It's just incredible stuff, people like that. That's just, you got an opportunity to hang out with them. And it's funny because, like I was talking about your guy, Terry, tonight, he'll be with me, and he's going to, first thing is going to be riding in a $250,000 comfortable car and see how smooth it is and how quiet it is. And you get back into one of them Toyotas, and you do like, God knows, sound like when a jet engine. I was in the car the other day with somebody, and I said, "Hey, you got the window down?" Because it was roaring. I was like, it's just a normal car, I like the quiet. See, and then we're going to get him down there. He go hang around some people, multimillionaires, and just see them and smell them and talk to them and see what they say, how they shake hands. I just love getting somebody like that on your team around the craziest of people. So this one's coming up. I'm going to post that where I'm texting back and forth, and they're kind of sharing with each other who they are, Coffee and Coffee. And I love, because it's going to help both of their careers if they connect, and they'll connect. I'll do the same thing with Dr. Caracas Watkins. But just getting around and just that atmosphere of growth. Figure out how to get one more person. Getting a person at a national convention in Dallas starts with getting them on these calls. Like 2 weeks, three in a row, as much as we talk about the convention, as much as we talk about the benefits of it, kind of like if they do 2 weeks in a row of doing just the calls, and then you talk to them about it, everything should have shifted in their mind. If it hadn't, that might tell you that sprout ain't growing too much. Maybe it's a late bloomer, so don't dig it up and kill them, don't cut them out, don't hate them, but you got to look at the ones that see it and buy a ticket, see it, book a flight, see it. All right, so start real low and then start raising them up, but you start them all low and then watch which ones spring up and then pour it on. But if you start it complicated, nobody's going to succeed. Nobody's going to succeed because it's too complicated in the beginning. But if you keep it low, more people can succeed. But you can also see how dedicated they are to the calls, how much they retain from the calls, how much they do what was said on the calls. And you can be the judge and discriminate. This one's putting in effort. This one's not putting in effort. This one paid attention and made comments, and this one didn't. It gives you a criteria to judge where to put your energy, effort, whether to fly to Salt Lake, whether to go to Atlanta, whether to go to Dallas. Hey, what dates are you going to be in Dallas and Atlanta? Do you have those, Jared?
Yeah, the 19th and the 20th. So for Marty Gauger and then James Coleman the next day. So everyone's flying into Dallas. I see Mike Levantovich, Jake Joseph is going to be out there, so it's going to be a good time.
I think Spencer's coming in.
Yeah.
Albright, I think he's coming. So that's listed. So showing you people where to find the meetings.
Mike and I will be in Charlotte on the 14th, and he's doing an event in Burlington on the 15th with Manley, I believe.
Get around the leaders, guys. Hey, good to see y'all. Loved what you had to say. Excited about your future. Let's go build some massive business. Find some other business owners.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, that to me that is crazy.